Halloween, Leave No Tracers. Today we are coming at you from the kitchen because we are going to be talking about some ways that we can make Halloween more sustainable.
One of the biggest things that we did and that all of us can do is making costumes out of things we already own. I already had this sweet fleece and my winter hat, so I just made a cardboard axe so I could be a lumberjack going along with it.
And I already had all of these green clothing items along with a junior ranger badge and this hat, so I could easily become a park ranger. Making Halloween costumes out of things you already own or thrifted items is a really great way to be more sustainable on Halloween. And today we're going to talk a lot more about another thing you can do, which is reuse your pumpkins.
Every year in the United States, after Halloween, we throw away 1 billion pounds of pumpkin that goes to landfills. Just for comparison, that's over 8,000 cars, 6 fully loaded freight trains, or 10 times the amount of waste that go through in our entire national park system in a calendar year.
To minimize all of that waste and to hashtag don't feed the landfills, we are going to show you 3 ways that you can reuse your pumpkins. We are going to use this pumpkin to make some really yummy snacks. We're going to roast the seeds inside and make a pumpkin puree. First things first, we need to cut our pumpkin in half. And this can be pretty tricky because pumpkins are very tough, but whatever way works for you, just saw that little guy in half. So now that we can see inside our pumpkin, we're gonna scoop out those seeds and put them in a bowl to roast, and then put these 2 halves into the oven.
All right, next we're gonna wanna separate our seeds from all that pumpkin stringy stuff that comes out with it. To do that, we'll put a bowl with some water on it, or use your sink and run water over it. We're gonna dump our seeds in. They should start to float when they don't have really anything on it, so you can just start to scoop them out. And once we're done separating that pumpkin, we're gonna wanna dry off our pumpkin seeds. So just get a dish rag or a kitchen towel and kind of pat them dry, loosely dry. They don't have to be super, super dry. We're gonna go ahead and transfer them onto our baking pan. Next, we'll want to drizzle just a little bit of melted butter across these, and then we will salt and pepper to taste, and then stir it all up. Bake 15 or 20 minutes at about 350 degrees, and we'll want to stir it once through, but they should be nice and done after that.
As for our pumpkin, we are going to put it kind of cut side down onto a cookie sheet, and this will go into the oven for 45 to 60 minutes or until you can kind of stick a fork through it.
Ooh, those are almost done. We just pulled out our seeds. They are looking nice and toasty. I'm gonna put them in a jar for serving. And just a taste test one. Crunchy and delicious.
Pulled this out of the oven. It was in there for probably about 50 minutes. And as you can see now, I can just stick a fork pretty easily in it. So the skin should come off really easily. I kind of just scraped it around with a fork, and you can then put this in the compost, and then this will go in the processor. Just going to whirl it around until it gets smooth. If you don't have a food processor, a blender will work. You can just kind of mash it up with a fork too. So here we have our beautiful pumpkin puree. You can use this for pretty much anything that requires pumpkin puree. I am going to put it in a pumpkin bread because that is my favorite thing to do.
Composting is a great way to give our food scraps and anything like that a second life. We're part of a community composting program, but even if you do it yourself, it's a great way to minimize the waste that we're sending to a landfill. All right, we just finished our homemade pumpkin bread. It looks beautiful and delicious. I cannot wait to dig into this.
Yeah, it's hopefully gonna be really tasty with that homemade pumpkin puree. And let us know if you have any other ideas for ways we can reuse pumpkins. Remember, we wanna keep that 1 billion pounds out of our landfills as much as we can. Have a happy Halloween and leave no trace.
See ya. Ooh.